Ads not read by me, Mary Payne, don't necessarily reflect the views of Pink Shade. If you'd like to listen to ad free, you're going to go on over to Supercast or Patreon, and you can find the links to Pink Shade Prime at pinkshadepodcast.com. Hey y'all, it's Mary Payne and welcome to Pink Shade. It's Monday and normally we have Life After Lockup, but there's no new episode this week because the show is over till July. So right now you're going to get two interviews. You're going to get the audio interview of Amrit and Nicholas from Family Karma. I love those guys. I had the best time talking to them. It's a great interview, if I do say so myself. And the next interview you will hear is with Lindsey of Life After Lockup, my fellow Mississippian. I loved talking to her and she gave me all sorts of inside scoop. So enjoy both of these interviews, and I'll be back next Monday with Keisha again, and we're going to be covering Match Me Abroad, which is starting this week on TLC. Enjoy these interviews, and I'll talk to you next week. Hey y'all, welcome to Pink Shade. It's Mary Payne. I've got Amrit and Nicholas here from Family Karma. I'm so excited. You guys, we just spent 10 minutes talking about our dogs. And I was like, we should get recording. Here's what you need to know. Theo is a golden doodle like my dogs, but he is 105 pounds, doesn't like affection, unlike my dogs who are tiny and want to be up in your grill at all times. So that's all you need to know about Theo. And I want to know, how does Theo do with those stairs right behind you guys?
That's a good question. And first, hey, Mary Payne, thanks for coming on your podcast. We're so excited to chat with you. Theo, you've probably seen, if you've seen the episodes in our new place, I guess it's not so new now, but we have a spiral staircase, and it's a little hard to maneuver even for us, two adult men, especially if you've had a couple of cocktails.
I bet.
But he was a little hesitant when we first introduced him to the staircase. He hesitated for just going up one time and then got used to it, saw us go up and down, and he surprisingly does well. Every once in a while, you'll hear a leg slip.
Or like a thud, and you're like, oh, Theo missed a step.
Yeah, but he's never fallen down or slid down. It also helps that there's not a gap between each stair. There's a wood plank.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, it's like a filler. Yeah. Well, when you guys were first talking about having a baby and I saw those stairs, I was like, oh, that's going to get old carrying a baby up and down those stairs.
Especially if we're going to want my mom to provide some free childcare. No, she can't with a baby. I'd be like, Mom, give me the baby. I'll take it upstairs. I'll meet you upstairs.
Yeah. Do you guys have a little bedroom or anything downstairs, or it's like living area downstairs, bedrooms up?
Living area downstairs, and then living area downstairs and sleeping quarters upstairs.
Yeah, we live in an area called, I don't know how familiar you are with Miami, Mary Payne, but we live in an area called Coconut Grove, and it's a really nice area. It's very centrally located, but sizes are so small because it's such an expensive area to live in.
Yeah.
So everything's kind of tiny. You're in a great location, but everything's a little smaller. So yeah, we have two, like a sort of office upstairs where I work. And then downstairs is all of the living area, his space. He works from downstairs. So it works out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, how is your mom doing? Love, your parents, I have to tell you, the story of your parents on this season, Amrit, was just like every scene. I was like, oh no, they have to be protected at all costs. They're the sweetest people.
She's good. They're both really good. We were just over there last night for dinner. And they're great. You know, my mom it's taking one step at a time. It's also been a journey for her to accept us, to accept me, to accept him, to accept all of it. But she is asking the right questions. In fact, just the other day, she said, but what's the difference between a drag queen and a transgender person? And are they mutually exclusive? And can a transgender person be a drag queen? I mean, she's asking the right questions, which is really good because she wants to be informed. And I think that's important, you know, and I think that's
totally
really important.
Yeah. And she's coming out of a really good space. I feel like if your heart is in the right space and you may not always use the right words to phrase your question, there's a whole lot more grace that you can extend. Whereas, you know, if you come at it from a really negative standpoint and you're almost intentionally not using the right words, then that's really well received. So
of course,
she's doing all the right things. It's pretty amazing to watch.
And how about your parents, Nicholas? How are they doing?
They have really come around so far. It's amazing. They're excited at the thought of grandkids and helping out with grandkids.
Yeah, the trend, I will say, the journey that I've seen with his parents over the last 24 months, 2 years, has been so significant.
I feel like the wedding was a really big moment in their journey with our relationship. They've never been mean. They don't ever use nasty words. They've always been kind to Amrit. They shower him with gifts. They're affectionate with Amrit. There was so much unknown going into the wedding. And once they were at our wedding and saw just how many people we had in our community, be it Amrit's childhood community, our LGBT community, it was just amazing for them to experience that. And when they saw how loved we were, it just really changed their perspective. It like kind of flipped everything on its upside down. And since then, it's just been great. Sure, there are little blips along the road, but I mean, even the blips, they're not like, she said this, I can't deal with this.
Right.
They came down this past Thanksgiving and were with us for 3 whole weeks.
Wow.
Yeah,
we did. They advocated for themselves and said, hey, can we get an Airbnb that's within walking distance from you? And they were at the Airbnb during the week. And then on like Thursday through Sunday, they would stay with us.
Wow.
And it just kept the visit really positive. Because, I mean, we've all been there when family or friends visit just a little too long and you start to bicker about inconsequential things. It starts to add up. And
totally,
they came in on a high note and they left on a high note. In fact, I dropped them off at the Fort Lauderdale airport, and by the time I was back in my car and they were at their terminal just waiting, my mom's like, well, I'm updating my packing list for the next time we come down.
Oh,
they had a wonderful trip.
It was great. Sure. It was great.
Hopefully, that's great. Well, I think that the way that you guys handled it on the show with the wedding and you just saying, this is their boundary. They don't want to be filmed. And then every time there was anything, you could just and I always love that on a Bravo show when they show you a little bit behind the scenes. That's why I love like Ultimate Girls Trip, because they're sort of giving you a peek for you guys to say like, this is, the cameras are going to go down. And you would, and I'm sure that as viewers, we were always like, is that Nicholas's parents? Is that Nicholas's parents? Is that Nicholas's parents in the background? But then I sort of stopped because I was like, they absolutely don't want to be filmed. They're not even going to show the back of their heads. I did like the one scene where I think it was Bali said, oh, is that Nicholas's parents? And Homer goes, no, that's just another white dude.
Well, that's the thing, Mary Payne. And that just goes to show the viewers that are watching the show that this is all real. None of this is scripted. None of this is, it's for the show. Like, this is real. And I made our production team very clear. I said, listen, it goes Nicholas's parents and then the production team. So what they want goes first, because this is our actual wedding. This is a really special moment for us. And they were so respectful of that. They were so, patient, that the production team. So it ended up working out perfectly well.
It really did.
Well, I want to go back a little bit and I want to ask you guys, how did you meet? Because we heard the story that you were in Chicago. So what I assume is, Nicholas, you came from Texas. You came from Miami.
Michigan.
Michigan. Why did I have Texas?
I don't know. I'm from Michigan.
Michigan. Okay, well, I made that up.
Midwestern
boy.
I made that because I was like, you don't have a Texas accent. So, and then you were both working in Chicago, and that's how you met?
So I had just taken the Illinois bar exam because I had just graduated from law school that year. I took the Illinois bar exam and moved to Chicago to work as a, new associate, young attorney. And he was in public accounting at the time. And it was in December. I could tell you exactly. I was at a holiday party and I didn't know. And for me, he was like on step 4 or 5 of his coming out, probably even more. I was on step 2. I was very much so a baby gay, didn't know what I was doing. Wasn't sure about really anything in life. And I ended up after the holiday party with some friends that were in town. I was like, I think I know one gay bar in Chicago. There are lots of gay bars in Chicago. And I was like, I think I know one that I've been to called Berlin. Late night, eclectic, alternative, a little seedy. And he ended up being there that night with his best friend celebrating a promotion. And we just kind of caught eyes on the dance floor. And I mean, the funny story is, okay, so it's late at night, and his phone had died, which till this day, 12 years later, he still doesn't know how to charge his phone. So I'm not shocked by that. But my phone had.
There's no reason for anybody's phone to die in 2023.
Exactly.
No reason.
Exactly.
No reason.
So he said, "Can I put my number on your phone?" I said, "Okay." And he put the wrong. He missed.
I
entered
digit. Nicholas in the first name. I spelled Kachukas correctly in the last name. I mean, it's 10 letters long, but then the last 2 digits of my phone number I flipped.
Yeah. So I had to. And then I texted him a couple of days after. So great to meet you. Blah blah blah. Did a respond. And then I sent him a Facebook message because I found him on Facebook.
Yeah.
And said, "Hey, I think this is you. I think we met."
You're like, are you trying to ghost me? Are you trying to do that trick where you gave me the wrong number? Because I found you on Facebook.
Then we connected. And then I was, again, really early on in my journey. So we did the whole being friends for about a year. And then we said, let's date. And then we've done it all in our relationship.
I had to chase pretty hard for a solid year before I could get him to commit. He was just not ready. And, it takes two people. It takes a lot for 2 people to be at a point where they're ready to get married.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You can see that on our journey. It took a long time. At times, one wanted more than the other was able to give, and it finally worked. And we got engaged in 2018.
What was the year that you met?
We met
2011. It was December of 2011. We started dating officially December of 2012. We broke up December of 2015 because he was pursuing a second master's degree. So he went to Madrid and then New York. So December has always been this big month for us for whatever reason.
Yeah.
We got back together in December 2017, and then we should have gotten married in December, but it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that would, because it was a special month. I get it. Well, that is interesting because first of all, I had Texas, and then I was like, how did he get from Texas to Chicago? So, Nicholas, you have 2 master's degrees?
I do. I got a master's degree in accounting from Western Michigan University, and that's how, when I met Amrit, I was an accountant. I had just left public accounting and was going to work for the Northern Trust Company, which is an asset manager based out of Chicago.
Yeah.
And I realized very early on in my audit career that it was not for me, but I worked in public accounting for almost 4 years, and then I pivoted to the private sector and worked for a large bank. And it didn't activate my brain in a way that I thought was sustainable for, a 30-year period. So
right.
I recognize that I love language, and I have an undergrad in French and Spanish, so I went back and got a second master's at New York University to be a Spanish and ESL teacher.
Wow. Because I knew that on the show you said you were a teacher, but now you're saying you have 2 master's degrees. I'm like, what are you teaching? Are you teaching accounting? Yeah. So you're fluent in French and Spanish?
I am. At this point, my Spanish is much, much better than my French, but
say something in French.
Aujourd'hui, il fait beau. Today it is a beautiful day.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to France in December. I've been before. We're going again, and we're taking our kids. And and my husband's like, should we try to learn some French? I was like, there's no time. There's not enough time. We should have started in 7th grade. I mean, like it's over for us. We're going to have to use one of those apps they use on 90 Day Fiancé.
Google Translator for sure.
It's fun to go experience a different culture, though. It really can open up an entire world.
Yes. We love it. My husband's been to France a few times with his job, and I went with him once, and we did Paris, Normandy, Versailles. Like we did it all. We were there for 8 or 9 days, and we're taking the kids, and we're going to do a little stint in Paris. We're also going to do Versailles because we just think that's for teenagers, they would love to see that. Yeah. And then we're going to do go to London and have Christmas in London.
Oh, no way. That's amazing.
Yeah. The last 2 Christmases, our whole family has gotten COVID. So we're like, you know what? It's not going to get us this year. We're going to go out of town. I'm sure nobody will get it on the airplane. Yeah. So, all right. Now, Amrit, this is a question. did your parents, when you told them, you came out and told them you were gay, did they ever encourage you to date an Indian man? Because it seems to be sort of a trope. They ever
So
say,
so I first came out to them as gay. They were in denial. So
mm,
let's fast forward through that part because that's
okay.
the fun part to talk about. And then they finally started accepting it. And I don't know that they were ever at a point before I met him where they were so comfortable with it to encourage me to be
Uh-huh.
an Indian man. I kind of think I just, kind of threw him into the mix. And at that point, they've been very good about being, okay, whatever makes you happy, whatever makes you happy, whatever makes you happy. So, and the other thing is, Mary Payne, there weren't that many Indians that were gay when I was a young, like in 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014.
Who were visibly out.
Who were
Well, that
visibly
you
out.
knew of, right? Yeah.
Obviously, there are a lot of Indian guys. There's so many Indian
Right.
people, but there weren't a lot of out and proud Indian guys. So, you take the pool of people to date, you take out the woman, then you put the gay guys, and then you take out all of the non-Indians. So there were like two people I could think of when I was actively dating. And again, I haven't really actively dated. We've been together for so many years that I haven't really actively dated in such a long time. But even those few brief periods where I was, I could name two Indian people that were available. And I'm not just going to date them because they're Indian. There has to be.
Right. Yeah. Right. Well, because it seems to be such a thing, because another show that we cover that we're obsessed with is Indian matchmaking on Netflix. That's about to come back out. We're obsessed with that show. And that's always the thing. It's like, and we always were like, it's so fascinating. I should have you guys come on and talk about an episode because it's so fascinating, because it's like the height, always talking about the height. It's like, it needs to be this, needs to be 5'9", needs to be this. It's always the height, and it's always the astrology has to match up. And then it's always, they have to be Gujarati, they have to be this, and these are the things. And so when watching your show, which of course is totally, totally different, and it's about all the families and the aunties and I'm always like wondering that aspect of it when trying to date, if all your parents who are, not too much older than me, would put those same restrictions on as the Indians that you see that are in India, or the Indian Americans that are still very, very, very traditional, and I don't know, I didn't know if that like applied to you, or if you saw that with your
think
brother.
You can hear many of these, let's say, attributes come out when describing people in general. You can still see there's a lot placed on female beauty.
Mm-hmm.
There is people don't always want to talk about it, but skin color politics, those are very much so still part of
they are
the norms. And
yeah, I think as a society, Indians tend to fixate on like this perfect image, this perfect ideal, perfect partner. Like, I don't care what he looks from on the inside, but the height, this, all the outside factors need to match up. And it's just so backwards, It's like, well, what about him as a person, his personality? And, I think for my mom, once I opened that gate of, I'm not going to be with a woman, it was just a free for all. It was like anything goes, find the right person, find a kind person, who'll take care of you. And
then she met Nicholas, so she's like, okay.
Yeah.
And then of course your relationship is so cute on the show too, with you going over there and cooking, and she just loves you so much. And it's so sweet.
I want to add thing. I recently listened to an auntie talk about someone who is a doctor, and she said, well, she's so beautiful. I mean, she could have been a model. and part of me thought, okay, sure, she could have been a model, but that wasn't what she wanted to do. She pursued what she wanted to do, and she used her mind. Like her marketability and her talents extend beyond, her physical attributes.
That's interesting. Well, being from the Deep South, I can relate to that, because it's a lot of, when I was 30 and I lived here, and then I lived back in Mississippi for a couple of years till I married my husband and I moved back here. And I was somewhere and I was 30 years old, so really old. And one of the moms said to me, like, so what's going on? You have a boyfriend, like assuming like you have a boyfriend. And I said, no, I don't. And they literally put their hand on me and go, that's okay. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, it is. I'm fine. I'm doing all right. I'm having a great time. It's all right. So, speaking of beautiful people, so Anisha, I think, is so interesting on the show because she kept her boyfriend, now her husband, like a huge secret when all of you guys, and this is also a thing we see on Housewives a lot, right? Like somebody will really show their life and then a lot of what you don't see behind the scenes with these housewives is they're annoyed with the other ones because I'm showing everything and you're showing nothing. Right. So when it's a lot of that behind the scenes and they can't say that's why they're mad because they can't say the show unless you get on Ultimate Girls Trip. But so Anisha kept everything so private, which of course is her right. And you guys have all said like she dated this other guy for like 7 years. We never met him, which is weird, when you're in a friend group. But she kept her husband private. That's her prerogative, whatever. And she said very clearly, we had a very small backyard wedding. And then it all comes out in People magazine, the most glorious wedding pictures you've ever seen in your life. And you're like, was she waiting for People magazine to pay for wedding pictures? And did they recreate it? Because she said they had a backyard wedding. Is that their backyard? Like what?
So they did. So she was truthful about that. There was a backyard wedding. It was family only, actually.
Yeah.
None of the cast there were no friends invited. No one from the community. It was family only. They kept it small. So it was her backyard. You know, they have a nice house in Doral. So it was her backyard, which it wasn't small. I mean, in terms of like the decor and the grandiose of it, it would look pretty grand. I mean, she had someone come out there and decorate with a bunch of flowers. Her outfits looked amazing.
Yes.
All she was missing was that big ballroom venue, but everything else was very grand and Indian for sure.
So those were pictures from her backyard wedding. Those weren't like she didn't like recreate that.
No, she did a photo shoot. I would assume she went to I think she went to like one of the nice hotels in Coral Gables and did a shoot. Yeah. But the wedding, the ceremony, that was her backyard wedding. Yeah, they just decorated the backyard.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'm just like, it was all secret until People magazine came calling, and then it wasn't.
You and I are wondering the same things, right? We're scratching the same part of our heads.
Perplexed. Interestingly, the only cast member who was there was Sean Patel, and Sean was featured on season 1.
Yes.
Then he was not asked to come back for season 2.
He officiated.
His younger brother came back. Dylan came back on season 2, but Sean officiated.
I remember.
Sean officiated for Anisha and Adnan.
Because the Patels, it seems like on season 1, like you said, Sean was on, but then because you remember when you went to the house, they had those creepy statues. I remember that, and then the mom, the auntie in the Patel family, she sort of was featured more in season 3, and we hadn't really seen her before. Her kids weren't really there.
Yeah, I think Dylan, he moved to pursue an MBA. So he's no longer living in Miami. And Sean, I think, just kind of was doing his own thing. And, reality TV is not for everyone. It's not.
Sure.
It's a certain type of person to be on a show where you're opening up your lives. So they I think they wanted to take a back seat. But Auntie Kalpana, the mom, she's still around. We see her all the time at community events and things like that.
When we talked about the Indian matchmaking and the arranged marriage versus the love marriage and all this, is Dharma and Mike, are they the only ones on the show that weren't arranged marriage?
I believe Bali's parents, they had a love marriage
Bali's parents
as well.
Had a love marriage.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always find that so interesting. It's like arranged marriage. It's marriage or it's love marriage. I was like, isn't all marriage love marriage? But I've learned so much from watching India matchmaking. Like, we covered your show all 3 seasons. We've covered India matchmaking from the beginning. It's like, I feel like I could go to India and be like half of an expert. Between that and 90 Day Fiance, I know a lot. I know a lot.
I love it.
Okay. So for the show itself, it's all based on the friendships between the kids, which are, you guys in your like 20s and 30s. And then the parents, which are all like, really, I'm literally like, they're all like my age. They're like 50s, 60s. And how did this come about? Because I think Anisha said that she and Vishal pitched it initially. Is that how it came about?
So Anisha, she had been in touch with someone at the production company for a little while and had said, when you're ready for a full Indian cast for a TV show, let us know. I have my friends at home in Miami. We're the tight-knit group. And before us, there had never been this full Indian cast on TV.
Right.
It was always like a one-off cast member, a one-off character if it was scripted,
Mm-hmm.
and that person would typically play a very stereotypical role. Like in Big Bang Theory, the Indian guy who's in their circle group, he was, had a thick accent. He was nervous to talk to girls. It
Right.
would be, and Abu in The Simpsons ran a 7-Eleven. You always had these really stereotypical one-off Indian characters, and it was
Right.
a little frustrating. It was a little frustrating because, listen, we're Indian. We're born in Miami. I don't talk like that. I talk, with an accent.
Yeah.
And I'm not running a 7-Eleven. So we were. I think the network was ready for to show America. This is the Indian culture that's in the United States,
and that the culture isn't a monolith, nor is it a caricature. I mean, there's just as much diversity in personalities and professions, and I mean, no two people are the same. And
right.
It was just a new view into Indian culture that was much more realistic than the caricatures that we see in cartoons.
Well, totally.
Yeah.
Well, it's such a great show. It's such a great show because it really is about family and friends and the dynamics between. And then, of course, it's like 3 shows in one, right? Because it's like the aunties and the uncles, they've got their show and the kids have their show. And then it's the mix. And I find the show so refreshing, especially for a Bravo show, which I'm a huge Bravo fan, because there's no bitching and fighting and hair pulling and somebody's going to throw wine in your face. And, somebody may have some terse words at a dinner table and then they may talk behind your back, but that's literally everyday life, but that's why the show is so good to me, because it really is about familiar relations and generations. I don't know. I think I tell everybody, like, if you don't sleep on Family Karma, this is like one of the best shows ever.
Yeah, and you're right, because we have so much to lose. I'm not going to end a friendship with one of my fellow castmates over a fight, because we have these friendships that have gone on for generations. And between our parents and us, we have years and years and years and years of friendships. And that might not necessarily be the case with the housewives, where they don't have much to lose. So sure, I'm going to throw a glass of wine in your face. I don't care, whatever. But, we're not willing to do that. Now, you're right, with any friend circle, there's going to be conflict. It's inevitable. To say my best friend and I haven't fought in 30 years, you're lying.
Right.
or that's not a real friendship.
Yeah.
So it's all organic. It's all very real.
I think that's really exemplified over Thanksgiving when I was helping to package up leftovers. I picked up a dish in his parents' kitchen. It was a silver platter, and it had an inscription on it. And I held it up and I looked at it. It was actually a platter that was given by the Patel family when Sean's great-grandfather passed in 1981. So Amrit's parents attended his great-grandfather's funeral, and then they received a parting gift in remembrance of his grandfather. And that was in 1981. That's 40 years ago. I mean, these are very deep, long-standing friendships. I mean, they are very organic.
Wow. Of course, when you say 1981 and you're like, it was so long ago. And of course I was like, I think I was 12. Like, is that long ago? But no, totally. Something 1981 would be that long ago. And that is fascinating. And that's why the show is so good to me, because of all this like long standing, especially with the older set, they've all been in each other's lives, and then how they talk about their kids and like, well, I don't know. He said he wasn't going to get married. And I mean, that's what you do. I mean, that's life. And that's why the show is so good. So I'm constantly telling people, and let me tell you, my biggest regret of BravoCon this last year was, so we started on one end, and by the time I got to the other end, I was starving. I was like, somebody said there's food if I go this way. So went this way. And then I saw the whole Family Karma thing. And I was like, I went over there, and then by then it was closed, and I didn't get to see anybody. I was so pissed. So I won't do that BravoCon this year. I will find it.
That was a pretty amazing bar that we had, wasn't it?
It was gorgeous. It was a whole setup.
It was gorgeous.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous.
So I will say, for those listening or watching or whatever, Family Karma, like you guys are telling me, like, they haven't officially been renewed. And you know how Bravo does this and they drag it out. Of course, the show is just on. So it's not always like they tell you right away. But this show, for people that listen to us, we've covered it from day one. I went and looked yesterday. I was like, I know we've covered it from day one. And we have. We did. You could go in our Patreon and search it up.
Thank you.
we watched the first season to start covering the second season, and we sort of recapped the first season, and then we went in episode by episode, season 2, and then as it was airing, we did season 3 because we couldn't miss it. And we have gotten lots of converts. We're like, if you're not watching it, you got to go watch it, because they'll just listen to us recap it and go, this sounds like a great show. We're like, you guys don't even know. So it's like, for example, I've never watched any of I'm not a summer house, winter house girl. I think these people are too young for me. I'm like, I can't understand this anymore. It's like getting drunk for a week anymore. Like it's past me. Yeah. But Brian Benny going to winter house.
Yeah.
I was like, well, now I'm going to watch.
No, you and I both. I am very curious to see how my Brian Benny handled Winter House. I'm very interested to see that.
We are so grateful that you cover our stories and that you get new eyes on the show. I mean, that means the world to us. It really does. It really does.
Brian, I think Brian being on Winter House, I don't know if it's going to help you or hurt you. I don't know. Well, he's going to be on there with Schwartz. I
would call him, Mary Payne. I would call him. I would check in with him because, it's a lot. It's a lot, especially Winter House is so compact. And I would call him every other day, text him every other day, be like, hey, if you're good, you want to talk. And we spoke a couple of times. And he seemed to hold his ground. He said Schwartz got along really well. Obviously, him and Kyle, Kyle and Amanda, we've known them for a little while. But he said everyone was really welcoming. But I guess let's see what airs, and let's see how that really turned out.
How did he do in the snow, being a Miami kid?
I don't know. He's not a real cold weather person.
He's not. I asked him. I was like, "Do you have the right apparel? Like, do you know what you wear in the snow?" And I think he might have done some shopping when he got there. Actually.
All right. Now here's a question. All right. Speaking of Bravo, so you guys were all on Watch What Happens Live. Nicholas, you're the bartender, and then you and Vishal were there in the front. And who was the bartender with you? Was it Bali?
Richa.
Oh, it was Richa. Okay, because
the two newlyweds.
Yep,
that's right. And everybody's officially married, so that's good. Like on paper, that was good.
Such a fun episode to film.
Well, so Andy said. And this is, again, from somebody who's watched every episode and covered it. So I'm pretty well versed in the whole thing because I've written about it for years. Andy was like, so how are Monica and Rishi doing since the breakup? How's Monica? And all of you just were like, and I'm thinking, nobody knew that. That had never been said. And all the Reddit and all the people in our Facebook group were like, hold on a minute. Did Andy just spill something because they didn't get to have a reunion? So we didn't know that. Now, Monica, we've seen on her Instagram, she's traipsing off and being Bollywood in India. So I assumed they broke up. What is the scoop? She dumped his ass, I hope.
And listen, I'm gonna be straight with you, and I'm gonna be honest with you. For those of you who have seen season 3, you saw that Nicholas and I really put ourselves in a situation that we should not have put ourselves in.
With Monica.
And with Monica, specifically with Monica and her relationship with Rishi. So personally, myself and Nicholas as well, I have, since all of that went down, I've stayed away from asking her, like, what's going on with you and Rishi. I just feel like we did enough damage.
Yeah.
That we're probably the last person she wants to hear from to be like, what's going on with Rishi? And like, what are you doing?
You didn't do any damage. Rishi did the damage.
I know, but we caused it to spread, not just through the cast and the circle, but in the community. And it's tough. Again, this goes back to the whole, this is organic. It's the community. It's his family. And, so.
Well, you don't want to spread rumors and and then there's cameras and I get it. Yeah.
We had a lapse of judgment, but so that's why truthfully, I have and I just talked to her the other day about this. And I said, Mon, I don't ask you about Rishi, and it's not that I don't care. I want you to be happy, whether it's with Rishi by yourself or with a new guy. But I've stayed away from asking you because I don't think that's something you want to talk to me. Maybe you're not comfortable talking to me about it, but if you ever are, I'm here. So truthfully, I couldn't tell you what the status is. I really couldn't.
I don't think I believe you, but that's okay.
She's going to give an update too.
Obviously, I think obviously they did break up because all of you went dead quiet. It was like, and he was like, so? You were all like, well, we don't know what's going on. But I was like, I think Andy just spilled something. Because,
something tells me there's been Yeah, exactly.
Ups and
down. Like
downs.
maybe they might have taken some time apart to figure out what is going on. Maybe they're trying
Okay.
to work together. I personally haven't seen Rishi in a little while. I will love Rishi as a person. I think, he's a really good guy. But again, we've given them their space because I think that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you for that situation, I didn't like how it seemed to the viewer that Rishi's family sort of blew it off, like kind of didn't kind of get how impactful this was on her. And they were sort of like, well, I mean, things happen. You should get over it. Rumors are going to happen. What are you going to do? And she's like, well, I mean, now the world knows that there's a rumor about my boyfriend, a man that I want to marry. And that it started by this other person that I'm potentially going to have to be in a family with for my whole life. So everybody is like, hashtag where's Nirja, hashtag find Nirja. Because, her little face was blurred out and everything. I was like, that if Family Karma comes back and they bring her on, it's going to be like a Miami girl on Vanderpump Rules. It's going to be a revolt.
Yeah, I will say I haven't talked to Nirja either.
Yeah.
a long time.
Is she still dating the brother?
I've honestly taken a hands off.
Okay.
If and when it comes that we need to see them at a community event or something, I will. But again, I don't think Nirja probably wants to see me either. So I don't think they're like dying to talk to us at the moment. So.
Oh my gosh. Well, I will say my personal opinion is Monica should get rid of him and find somebody that deserves her. That's my opinion. He's adorable and everything, but I think he's just not ready to, it seemed on the show, not ready to commit and settle down. He's a young guy. So if he's not ready to commit and settle down as she is, then go your separate ways. And maybe it could be like you two and come back together 2 years later.
Yeah, exactly.
That happened with my husband and I. We were not together for 2 years and then we came back together and we've been married 23 years.
You never know.
That's amazing.
You never know. All right. So the next question, Bali, has she moved to Louisville?
She's been there. I mean, I would say she spends more time in Louisville than she's down here in Miami.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially now, like it's the summer, it's not as, miserable and cold and winter and snowy there. And in fact, here it's starting to get a little miserable in Miami.
Yeah, right.
The snowbirds are all like, okay, peace, Miami. So I know that she's been spending a lot of time there. In fact, I think our plan is to go to Kentucky to visit her for the Derby.
Oh my God, you'll have the best time.
Have you been to the Derby?
I have not been to the Derby itself. I've been to a zillion Derby parties in my life. I have a very good friend up here who's from Louisville and they have a box at the whatever. So their family members, they rotate. So she only gets to go like every 4 years.
Yeah.
We have two friends up here that are like that. But every year she has this huge Derby party.
Yeah.
And y'all are going to have the best time because you'll probably get some really special treatment so that you can do it like fancy. You don't have to do it like the riffraff. You could go like fancy style. Yeah.
Yeah, we're excited. And she's excited to host us. O'Malley's excited to host us. So that'll be nice.
Yeah.
You could wear like a seersucker suit and your white bucks.
Oh my gosh, a seersucker suit would be lovely.
So cute. You could wear like a yellow, you could wear like a blue. You got to get your Southern outfits on.
Okay, yeah.
All right, I'm trying to think of who else I can ask you about on the show. I got to say that of the aunties, besides your mom, who is just so sweet, I love Dharma because I love her potty mouth.
That her potty mouth does resonate with a lot of fans. We hear many fans say, "Oh my gosh, I love Dharma." I was just at the dog park last Saturday, and a woman said, "Are you Nicholas from Family Karma?" And we chatted, and she said, "I just love Dharma Benny because she swears."
I have DM'd her quite a bit, and like, we love you so much. Please come on the show. So maybe now you'll tell her that I'm nice and that I really am like a legit fan. I'm not like a weirdo.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a little weirdo, but also I love, I also love Lopa, and you just can't do Lopa. You have to go Lopa because she's just so over the top. And when you get Lopa and Dharma together, it's magic.
Yeah, they have big personalities for sure.
Yeah.
Do you think that Vishal's mom got a bad rap?
It's hard for me to say because I have known Vishal's mom has always been a second mom to me. I mean, as far back as I can remember, I remember every time she took him to the toy store, I would be right there next to him and she'd buy me something. Every time we went to McDonald's, she got him the Happy Mac. I mean, whatever I wanted, she would do it for me. She was like a second mom No, my mom had times when she would have to be in India for extended periods to take care of family members. I would go to Auntie Reshma's house and just, Vishal
Yeah.
wouldn't even be there. I'd just be, having lunch with her. So I am like ride or die team Auntie Reshma. I have to be. She means so well. Sometimes she might have a harder shell, an exterior,
Mm-hmm.
which
Mm-hmm.
we all do sometimes.
Sure.
But I don't think she got it. I think she got a really bad rep.
Yeah, I think that it came across sort of negative towards her on the the way the viewers saw it. That she seemed a little hardcore. Yeah.
I don't know that she was always best able to express herself.
Uh-huh.
And I think that
she tends to go quiet. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like if she had spoken up earlier on to quash certain things,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of this drama could have been avoided.
Yeah. I also think, it's your son's wedding. I saw it firsthand. She was running around. I mean, it's your son's wedding, and she had she has a big family. So she had family from Hong Kong and LA and all of her friends in Miami. So it's virtually impossible for you to give that undivided attention to every single one of your guests. But as a guest, when you're attending a wedding, even my best friend or my college roommate, when I go to their weddings, I say, hey, babe, when you need me, I'm right here. But I'm not going to be in your space because I'm not the guest of honor,
Right.
It's not my wedding. I'm not the guest of honor. So I think it was a little unreasonable for a guest to think, well, why didn't I get this attention? And it really just took the focus from the newlyweds and Vishal and Richa, and it really made it about, well, how come, Auntie Dharma didn't feel like she was made special? And weddings are not about that. They're not. Yeah. They're about people getting married and their immediate family.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is when you're involved in a wedding and you're the family or you're the bride or the groom or the whatever, that to have somebody come up and be like, just wanted to let you know I'm here. Hey, don't feel the need to talk to me again. Please don't write me a thank you note. Like, I'm just here.
Yeah, if you need help,
I'm going to have a drink and I'll see you later.
If you need my help, text me. I'm here for whatever you need, and that's it. That's usually how I tend to conduct myself at weddings, but to each their own,
I've known most of the cast since I've been involved with Amrit, but and that's almost 11 years. But I've only known Brian through Family Karma, and I've only met his parents through Brian.
Okay, yeah. Well, I will tell you that I need more Lopa in my life. How are Vishal and Risha doing?
They're good. They're doing really, really well. They have their new place. They've been having a ton of fun decorating and designing it. Yeah. And it's really nice to see that side of their relationship, because when you create a home together, it makes you happier people. It makes you happier in your marriage. So we've been over their place. It's all pretty much done for the most part. And they just seem really happy. They really do. So
does Risha go back and forth between Memphis still, or does she now
she's actually spending a lot more of her time down in Miami now that they have this beautiful home together.
Yeah, which is
that's
really
good
nice to see.
That's good because they've been together a long time. You guys have been together a long time. Right. So it's a show about families, really, to me. All right, I want to give a quick pivot and find out what other Bravo shows you guys are into.
Oh, this one is obsessed with Vanderpump Rules.
Who isn't obsessed with Vanderpump Rules right now? I mean, Ariana,
every morning it's something, babe, and I think he's going to
every morning it's something
about our renewal. But this morning it was, look at Ariana Madix. She's she's shooting a commercial with Bloomingdale's.
I will say, in BravoCon, the last night of BravoCon, after the conference was done, a lot of the Bravo folks, we all stayed at the same hotel. So we all went out to a bar afterwards, and we had our interactions with Ariana throughout the weekend was just nothing but pleasant. She was, very friendly. She was interested and not in talking to you. So that night, I remember we went to a bar. I bumped into Kyle in the hotel lobby, and I was like, "Kyle, what are you doing? We're not ready to go to bed yet." He's like, well, let's walk over, Sandoval and Schwartz and all of them. We're all going to hang out at a bar afterwards. So I remember walking past, it was this woman in an oversized hood on top of her head, big sunglasses on. And I'm like, Ariana? And she's like, hey, come inside. And she was so welcoming and friendly. So I have like this little soft spot for her, like I said, along with the rest of the United States.
Right, of
I
course.
have this
Yeah.
soft spot for her. That's why I'm so happy to see her doing all these incredible things. Dancing with the Stars, Bloomingdale's ad this morning, which was incredible, Lifetime
Hmm.
movie. Kudos to her. She really is a gem of a person. Again, I'm not best friends with her, but my very limited interaction with her during BravoCon was very sweet.
Can you believe that stupid Tom Sandoval going on that Howie Mandel podcast? And he had never watched one episode. It's like Sandoval's drummer's wife is Howie Mandel's producer. So that's how they got there. I was like, there are 50.
Uh,
That's how they got there. There are 50 to 100, and I can name 10 excellent Bravo podcasts that know everything about Vanderpump Rules, me included, that could ask him, and you could probably find one that would maybe have some sympathy towards him, that could ask him the right questions and not villainize him and make him feel like he could tell his side of the story. There's so many. To go on a podcast with this dude that has, I don't care how famous he is, he's never watched one episode. I even just saw the clips. I was like, I'm enraged. I'm enraged all over again. I'm enraged.
Total train wreck.
Yes, total train wreck. Did you see the clips of
I
this with
saw
him on
clips.
this?
I saw clips. Yeah, I saw clips.
And he's like, I broke up with her on Valentine's Day. And then later he says, well, I was planning to go to therapy and we were going to break up in therapy. I was like, yeah, but you just said you broke up with her Valentine's Day. So which is it? Also, by the way, if you start hooking up with somebody in August and we're all the way to February,
Yeah,
that's still an affair, you
that's
dumbass.
That's overlap for sure.
That's Anyway, I'm furious about it. And I know that Andy, I listen to his radio show in the mornings while I'm doing about the house. And he was really mad, that he would go on this other podcast and say all this stuff because you're under a contract. You're supposed to wait till the reunion. So John Hill asked him, are you mad contractually? Is he not supposed to be doing this stuff? And he's like, yeah, I am mad. He's like, yeah, it's not good. He goes, they told me he was doing it. And I said, it's not a good idea. And he did it anyway. And he goes, I'm still think people are going to get what they want from the reunion. But, yeah, I was like, yeah,
Thanks.
You tell him. You don't want Andy mad at you when he's
No, you don't.
No. So I got to tell you, so you guys are interested in the Scandal. You guys, Housewives fans?
Beverly Hills.
Beverly Hills.
I am very committed to Beverly Hills. That's probably the only franchise I see religiously. And then Potomac was, Potomac.
We did
was
watch
before our episode,
Utah.
so we would watch Potomac.
That was really
Salt Lake
juicy
City
this year.
Salt Lake City.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Salt Lake City.
Do you love Lisa Barlow?
Yeah. I've hung out more and interacted more with Meredith Marks than Lisa Barlow. So I take that back. I have nothing against Lisa, but I definitely have interacted with Meredith more.
And so I know you guys are friends with Margaret.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will say that on Watch What Happens Live, they had Margaret on. This is a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they were asking her all her friends, and you were on it. Amrit was on it, and I was like, so that's why I reached out to Anthony, who I know, and I go, do you know Amrit too? Because I know you know Margaret. He brought me back. Yeah, I'll look you up. I was like, yay.
Margaret, we've done a couple of events together. She's a huge ally of our community, which is always so important. We need big allies for us. And we're working with her in a couple of weeks for a family equality event. She's going to be introducing an award that we're receiving from that organization. So
what award? Wait, don't sleep on that. What award are you getting?
So it's an organization called Family Equality, which is one of the main nonprofits that advocates for the LGBTQ plus community at the national political level.
Okay.
So, when there are almost 400 anti-LGBTQ plus bills that are proposed, last year in 2022, Family Equality helped reduce that number down to only 92 passing.
Yeah. So they're an advocacy group, and their focus is on families. So having kids and making sure that we as a family unit, when we do have kids, if and when, that we're afforded the same protections as a heterosexual family or family with a mom and a dad. Yeah. So they do really great advocacy work, and they're presenting us with a visibility award, which we are so grateful and humble to receive. And
That's
Margaret
awesome.
Joseph is going to be presenting the award to us as an ally of the community.
Where is that happening?
So it's called the Night at the Pier Gala. It's Family Equality's biggest event of the year. They bring about, I think, over 800 people.
Yeah, it is a huge event.
It's going to be taking place in New York City. So if you're in New York and you want to meet us and you want to meet Margaret, we'd love to meet you. My parents are going to be there for it. It's on May 15th.
Oh,
May 15th
it'll be fun. You'll
in New York
see
City.
a whole big table of us from Amrit's family. It's great. It'll be great.
Okay, well, I love that. I think that is a nice, very positive, happy way to end this. That warms my heart. Well, I'm glad that Margaret is going to be there for you guys, and you guys have really done a lot for, like you're saying, like showing this is a family, this is a family, this is a family. Like a family doesn't have to look like this. And I think that when you're talking about having a family, I think about like Andy Cohen really pushing politically in New York to make surrogacy legal in New York, because when he had his first child, he had to go to California, but he was able with the second child to do it in New York.
Yeah.
So I think that these are things that as just a married heterosexual people, maybe you don't think about, because for us, it's just what it is. But for you guys, and your struggle on the show, you're like, this is just another hurdle we have to jump over. And Nicholas, you said on the show, you're like, we want to be like a face for other people to, think about if you didn't have the means and you were a gay couple and you didn't have the means to do all this stuff, then what do you do? And it really does make you think. So I think that you guys in your show, in being entertaining and great and understanding more about the culture, I think that you two specifically brought so much awareness to the family aspect of it and what you guys face as a family. So I just think that that's great. You guys are getting that reward. And I love that Margaret's doing it too, because I just love Margaret.
Thank you, Mary Payne. We really appreciate those words.
Yeah, and so I will tell everybody. So if you want Family Karma to come back, what you need to do, you guys told me you need to be hashtagging Family Karma. You need to be tagging Bravo. You need to say, where's our season 4?
Yes, at Stream on Peacock. Exactly. Where's our season 4? Bring it back at Stream on Peacock.
Yeah.
I guess so. The more people stream on Peacock and are watching the past episodes, that's giving them like data to say people are really watching this.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, that makes sense. So if you guys haven't watched all 3 seasons of Family Karma, go watch it on Peacock, and then even like upgrade to the not $5 one where you don't even have to see the commercials.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome.
That's what I've done. That's what I've done. Okay, guys, don't hang up, but I'm going to end this, and thank you very much. Oh, and you want to promote your social media and tell people where to follow you on the social media?
Yeah, sure. You could find us on Instagram. My Instagram handle is very simple. It's my first name and then my last name, Amrit Kapai, Kapai.
Mine's a little more complicated. It's my Kouchhoukos.
The easier thing is just go to mine, and he's tagging all my photos. You'll find them immediately.
Did you guys ever decide on this last name situation to wrap it up?
That is for our next conversation.
We have had the ball is moving and it seems to be going in a positive direction.
We'll see. We'll see. That'll be for the next conversation.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thanks,
Bye, Mary Payne. Have a good one.
All right, y'all, it's Mary Payne here. I'm here with Lindsey of Love After Lockup, Life After Lockup. You were never on Love during Lockup, so that's good. Okay, Lindsey, first of all, I know. Well, you could have been on it, I guess, because they didn't do that at the time. You were on, right?
Right.
All right, Lindsey, first I want you to tell me, because I'm from Mississippi.
Are you? I could hear your accent.
Yeah, hence the 2 names, Mary Payne, like Miley Grace. And you had a friend that came on too that was like a girlfriend or a friend, and she had 2 names too.
Yeah, Tara Bell.
So whenever it was on, I was trying to tell people, I was like, see, everybody from Mississippi has 2 names. Because nobody gets it. Nobody gets it. And when I was talking to your PR person, I was like, it's Mary Payne. I was like, Lindsey will get it. She's from Mississippi. She'll understand.
Yeah,
right?
It's a thing. It's a thing. I was very upset that I didn't have a double name.
Don't be. It's so hard. It's so hard when you get older. Now, I see behind you, you have an Ole Miss blanket. Are you in school right now at Ole Miss?
We can't even talk about that right now. We will get on to what we're doing this season. Anything in the future, you just have to keep watching for.
Okay. All right.
Because I went to Ole Miss fan. Huge Ole Miss.
Okay. I went to Ole Miss, so that's why I'm asking. Yeah.
I love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Well,
But,
maybe in the
Oxford was
future. So how far is Corinth from Oxford? I can't even think because I haven't lived there in so long.
about 2 hours.
Okay, that's nothing. I'm from Jackson, so it's about 2.5. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. So tell me about high school. So did you go to the same high school that Miley Grace goes to now?
Yes. So I went to Walnut High School. It's really small. It's a little 2A school. And I was in, cheerleading, basketball, softball, graduated with high honors, got pregnant with her my sophomore year.
Wow. And so when you think about that now, because you can't be 30, you're so young.
I'm 30.
Oh my gosh. I was going to say you got to be like 28. You're still so young.
I just turned 30. I'm not ready.
When you think about that now and you think about how young that really is, like, can you imagine how you did that? Like that, I can't imagine. It's so hard.
Yeah, I just said, well, at the time I felt very, mature and very, old enough to be having a daughter and this, that, and the other. And then I'm looking at my child now and realizing like, no.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
But you went on to graduate and had a job and just always did everything you were supposed to do until kind of things took a turn. But I think that somebody showed me recently, they found some old YouTube videos of you talking about like working at the grocery store.
Yeah. So right after high school, I started working while I was in high school. Mm-hmm. And then right after high school, I got my second and third job while I went to community college. And so I legitimately was working or going to school or both 7 days a week for months on end. I was super tired. I busted out my 2-year degree and went on to Ole Miss. And that extra drive time to Ole Miss, because I was a commuter, it really kicked my butt.
Yeah.
It went from me having 3 jobs to me only being able to have 2 jobs because I was having to travel 4 days a week, 2 hours each way. And I just slowly started this downward spiral that just got worse and worse and just got more and more out of control.
Yeah. And so during that time frame of your life, did you meet Blaine during that time? You guys were like running in the same groups.
Not back then. Back then, I did not do anything social while I was in college. It wasn't until after I had dropped out and started running around in the wrong crowds that I actually met Blaine.
Okay. And then from that crowd, because we see on the show sometimes you connect with people from your old crowd. Do you still keep in touch with any of those friends? And do you have a lot of friends in that group that have kind of gone in your same journey or in recovery and all that?
Yeah. So I keep in touch with a lot of them. I keep my distance physically, but I'm still there emotionally because sometimes they decide they want to do the recovery thing. And sometimes they give it a try and it doesn't work. And they go back and they shoot me another message and they try again. And being that I work in rehab, I actually have a whole lot of connections with getting people in. Mm-hmm. You can't usually get them in my rehab, but I can usually get them in rehabs in other places in the state. So like TC, he's in rehab right now again.
Your friend, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. And then of course, I've talked to Six several times on the show. Yeah. So I have to keep a very hard line between where we are connecting physically, because I just can't let myself sink back into those old ways, and being around the wrong people will send you that way so fast.
Yeah. My husband is almost 9 years sober.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And I have a brother-in-law that's about, I guess he's going on 11 years. And then my sister is very involved in Al-Anon. So she's like super involved. And they have similar situations where they are in Jackson, where, if people come to them and want people that they've met for meetings and things that fall off the wagon and they come back. And if they want help, they're like, we're always here to help. We don't judge if you relapse, because now you're coming back and you're trying again. And that's all that matters. So
yeah.
I feel like I know a lot about it, tangentially from my husband as well, who went to rehab and it, completely changed his life. So I know that like people like you that work at those places, I think it's so great if they have the real life experience so they know what people are going through. They're not just telling you like, I've been there too.
Right. Yeah. And I think that absolutely makes a difference, being able to connect with some of the girls. And I work nights, most nights. I only work one day during the week, but it is great to be able to connect with people that that are still fresh into their recovery, because it reminds me like, hey, you can go back there anytime. Like it's such, it has to be at the forefront of your mind at all times, because the moment you get comfortable in your recovery is the moment that you open yourself up to relapse.
Yeah, my husband says that a lot when people will call him and want help. He'll say, it just shows me that like any minute I could be right back where I was, And he says that to our kids a lot. We have teenagers, and he'll say that like, yeah, I think that I could have one drink, but when I play it forward, I know that I'm in the bottom of the bottle, possibly in the ditch. So no, I can't have one drink, and it's I love seeing it on the show, because you see so much on the show of the opposite, of people acting crazy and some people dying. I mean, like terrible. And then you see people on the show like you that have really turned it around, and like Brittany of Marcelino and Brittany. And you're like, okay, this show is not going to be all just like trash TV watching. We can see some like redemptive stories here.
Yeah, because I mean, we got to see all of it. We saw me in active addiction in the season of, you can actually, let me tell you, the hardest thing to do is sit in jail and watch your life play out as you hit that spiral down. Because when I first came out on Love After Lockup, I was sober, and I could actually pinpoint at the moment the episodes between where I was sober and where I relapsed. It was just clear as day. And I was like, wow, because at the time when you're in that active addiction, you feel like you have it under control. You do. You feel very confident that you're maintaining. And if you ever have to watch yourself physically, you know that one thing you are not doing is maintaining.
Yeah. How did you find the show anyway? Because we knew about Scott, who still it's a mystery of what was wrong with his lip. Still don't know. It's a mystery still.
Scott actually found the show. Scott's the one that told me about it.
Okay. And you were you were communicating with him. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I dated Scott for 2 years while I was in prison, and I had seen the show, but it had actually never occurred to me for us to apply to it. Even when he said he was gonna apply to it, I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like, where is he? And then look at you. But
I don't actually know where he is. No idea.
So people in prison do watch the show, because you always wonder how do the people in prison know about the show,
It is a massive. So like they'll have like multiple TVs for each unit. So anywhere between like 6 and 8 TVs generally. And when the Love After Lockup and Life After Lockups come on, you have one TV, it's for Spanish. And then you have almost every other TV. The whole place will be on Love After Lockup.
And then you're watching, and you're on it, and you're watching it. You're like, hi, that's me.
Yeah. It's so awkward.
Or it makes you a star in prison, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, yes. When I came back to prison, when I violated and went back in, I mean, the prison system is relatively small. The federal prison system is relatively small. Like, you tend to get to know everybody, or at least know their name. But returning to prison after being on TV, it was absolutely just crazy. People that I had never spoke to me are, calling out to me, and like they're banging on the windows as I was walking in the facility. Staff actually asked me for an autograph. So like, I had to happen 2 times. I thought it was so weird. I was like, no.
That is so weird. Just like, let me get a selfie.
And then at the same time, it was very hard going back, and it had a whole just phenomenally just different aspects to come back in. The whole relationship with staff when I had been on TV and came back, I actually landed in segregation over doing an interview over the New Year's Eve special. They absolutely tore my room apart every chance they got. I had a lot of issues with staff when I went back in the second time, which was funny, because the second time I went back in is when I wasn't actively in addiction and I was trying to do better. And I was making those changes, and I was having a lot harder time with staff than I was the first time. So it was really difficult for me to deal with that.
Well, how long were you in prison the first time, and then how long this second time before you got out at the beginning of the season? Yeah.
The first time I was in for 4.5 years, and then I was out of custody for 6 weeks, and then I returned for 18 months on a violation.
Those 6 weeks you were out was when that first season of Love After Lockup was? It was only 6 weeks?
Yep.
Wow, you got squeezed a lot into that 6 weeks.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, couldn't go anywhere. You know, the whole season was filmed inside the house because we're on quarantine.
Yeah.
And it was just, God, I hated him. Oh, I hated him. He was awful. Scott was awful. He could make a nun cuss.
He seemed awful. He seemed awful. And seriously, do you know what was wrong with his lip? Because like everybody wants to know.
Yeah. So it is an allergy, but it's an allergy to like almost everything. It's an allergy to like spicy foods, certain dyes that are in the foods. Like he wasn't taking care of it.
Okay.
He wasn't actively doing what he like, which I mean, I kind of get that because like, I don't know, if I ever became like a diabetic, I don't know what I would do. If I couldn't drink sweets, I would just lose it. But yeah, it was just him just not taking care of it. And that's what he had told me. And anytime you see him eat anything spicy, it got so much worse. And he would go and get medicine for it and then not take it. And I don't know. I never saw it get any better.
Yeah. Well, that's what he said. It was an allergy. I was like, at some point you could take an allergy pill or a shot or something. I was like, this poor guy.
He would take steroids for it and it would help. But when you know you're allergic to something and you're still actively eating it, like
right. Okay.
Was like
all right.
What he was putting into it.
So he's not around. He's not in Mississippi. He went back to where he came from.
I don't know anything about where he is. I have no idea. I know that he is not in the house that we lived in because the new owners of the house actually reached out and was like, "Oh my gosh, this is our house." I was like, "Oh, that's so cool." But
so you had made that cute attic room. You had made that cute attic room, that upstairs for Molly Grace. Yeah,
that really did turn out cute. I will give him like there. He did do that really well.
Yeah, it's like a teenager.
I mean, I had to throw an absolute fit to get it.
Mm-hmm. I can't believe that was only 6 weeks. That's just like blowing my mind. So, all right, let's see. I'm looking at my questions over here. So how is it filming in Corinth? Do you have people like come up to you like in the grocery store or is it pretty chill? But I mean, Corinth is not that big. So it's not like there's a lot of celebrities around.
Yeah. So being that it is such a small town, like I get stopped all the time. I think it's cool. I think it's a fun. I'll see people looking at me and I see that they're seeing me and I know they're recognizing me and I'll be like, "You want a picture?" And they'll be like, "Yeah." Because I think it's cool. It's fun. You know, it's now Miley, on the other hand, she doesn't really like it that much. She's like, I'm like, "Don't be rude."
Well, teenagers aren't going to be embarrassed no matter what. So yeah.
She doesn't like anything in life at this point. I've been an idiot since she turned 13.
Okay. How old is she? 16?
13. And since she turned 13, I've been an idiot. I can do nothing right.
Isn't that interesting how that happens? As they get older, you get dumber. Yeah.
I hate this age. I'm ready for her to be out of it.
I'm here to tell you it gets better around 18. It does.
So long.
I know. But just think about yourself and think about how you were at that age. You know what I mean? You were
I'm definitely paying for my raisin. That's you pay for your raisin. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Getting in full force. Well, I don't know. My kid's a lot better than I was. Because like I said, I was knocked up by the time I was 15. And I was having a baby by 16. And I don't think that's something she's totally not interested in that. I hope it sticks that way.
Yeah. And the dad, her biological dad is not around, or he does see her, or
so he's recently decided that they wanted to start seeing her. They'll go through phases where they'll want to see her, and then they'll actively participate in coming to her events for like 2 or 3 weeks, and they'll kind of fall off again, and we won't hear from them again for a few more months.
Yeah, well, that's annoying. Well, yeah. she has strong women around her, so I think that's pretty important. Yeah.
Yeah.
We always say on the podcast, we're always like, Lindsey is the smartest person that has ever been on this franchise. When we saw that map that you drew from Deontay's apartment to his house, and you were like, I was like, she's like a savant. She like drew that from memory from not seeing the town. And we're like, she's the smartest person on the show.
I was teasing him so hard. I sent that to him. I was like, I know everything.
I would be scared. I think that whatever you are doing with your schooling or anything, I think that whatever you're doing, you'll be super successful because I think I think you've got like the natural smarts, the street smarts, and the natural smarts. It's a good combo, it seems to me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing like sitting in prison and realizing, like actively realizing I'm wasting time and wasting time and wasting time. Because when you're out here and you're living life and, you're working every day and, you're active in your kids' lives, you don't realize that passage of time until next, you're 30 or you're 40 and you're 50 and you're like, I don't want to do this. But for me, I was very aware I'm losing this time. This time is gone. It's passing me by. It's not coming back. So when I got out, I really did hit the ground running this time. I really had like, I'm really motivated to do what I need to do to get what I need to do done. I know I won't. I don't want to sleep. I don't want to sleep when I have to. I want to actively be there for as much as humanly possible for Miley and for my future career and everything like that.
Yeah, well, I think that shows. And let me ask you. Speaking of Deontay, do you ever talk to any other cast members on the show besides like Deontay or somebody that you knew personally? Do you guys ever?
I follow some of them on social media, and Cam, his Twitter is really funny. It just is.
He is so corny. He is so corny, though. He is so corny.
I love that corny. I love corny stuff. So that's, for me, it's like great. But I follow some of the cast. I've never actually directly spoken to him or anything. It was kind of a fluke with Deontay. I had never talked to anybody else that was on the show before, and I was like, watched him. I saw the very first commercial and I was like, he's cute. I want to talk to him.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, I guess I could have reached out to any cast member and spoke to him, but no, it ended up being, and then I started talking to him, and then I guess, hey cast, I don't know. I don't know what to really talk about, I guess, like being on the show or stuff, but.
Well, it's because not like 90 Day Fiance, the people don't interact, but then they do have like a reunion where they all get to sit together and meet and sort of comment on each other's stories, and because 90 Day and Love After Lockup are kind of in the same universe, they're Matt Sharp Productions.
And I think we need that. We totally do that. Yeah.
We're always like, why don't we get a reunion? We would, at the end, sometimes they drop a bomb on you, and they're doing like those things at the end. You're like, wait, what? So I would like to have a reunion, everybody sit together, and then you could comment on what you think about like Marcelino and Brittany, or you could tell Cam that you think he's funny. We would love that.
Yeah, I actually, for the people, the fans of the show, the ones that like it and the ones that want more, the best, if you want things like this, you have to be vocal. You have to get on social media platforms. You have to get on Twitter. You have to get on Instagram and go tell the network, go tell Love After Lockup, like, hey, this is what I want. I'm a fan. This is what I want. So y'all get out there, get active on these social medias and tell them, be vocal. If you want to see more of Brittany Marcelino, go tweet about it.
Yeah. Yes. I think that's right. I think that's the way the world is now.
Because it's in your hands. If you're a fan of the show, it is in your hands. You just have to be vocal enough that they hear you.
Well, we have been huge fans. We've covered it from season 1. And so whenever we're like, okay, it's love after, it's life after, it's love during, it's love. And so after, we're always confused. But so after this coming week's episode, that'll be the finale. And then there'll be a little break. And they're putting on Mama June, which is very upsetting. I was like, why can't we just roll into it? No, I need another Lockup show. I needed to roll right into another Lockup show. But we're getting Mama June. I know. Keisha,
I'll say that Mama June's had a very crazy story going on lately. I'm going to be watching Mama June, honestly.
Well, Keisha, who co-host Love After Lockup with me, she's obsessed with Mama June, and she's obsessed with Honey Boo Boo from day one. So she's going to be watching. She's very into it. And I was like, I've never watched it. I think it's too late to jump in. I think it's too late to jump in.
Late. It's not. It's not, because you know what? I didn't jump in until last year.
Oh, okay.
I watched a couple of episodes from their last season. I got hooked right away. I'm telling you, go ahead and give it a try. You just got to go. You just got to go with it.
Let me ask you a hard left question. How is it going with the home renovation? Are you in that home, or are you in the log cabin?
So renovations are very like long going, and it's a process. And that trailer, it was funny because so many people were commenting and they were saying things like about us living there and everything. And I'm like, that trailer didn't even have water at that time.
Yeah.
Not living there. They're
No, you definitely weren't living there. You could tell you were trying to do it, but it's like if the two of you trying to do it with one buddy, it's going to take a year. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is being in construction and both of us having the skill set we need to do those repairs. You can, but it takes time. It takes time. It takes effort, and your weekends are gone.
Right.
So you're not doing anything on weekends anymore. Night
Yeah.
times, none. But we have definitely made a lot of progress, but you'll have to just kind of tune in to see where things go from here.
Okay. All right. Now I have a question about Blaine. Now, okay. So Blaine is on tether. It's just a word I learned from Love After Lockup. He's got his ankle monitor, so he has to be in the house, but he has permission to go where he needs to go for work and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I just saw a picture you guys posted on Instagram or something from Easter where you all look so cute. And so Blaine has a son?
Blaine has 2 kids.
2 kids. And how old are his kids?
I'm going to let Blaine put that information out there if he wants to.
Okay.
I know he's been a little bit more private about his kids. Of course, Miley's a little bit older than his kids are. So, but he has 2 kids. He has a son and a daughter, and he really enjoys being a father. Like he absolutely loves it. It's like it's highlights. He wakes up and he's like, I'm a dad.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. But Blaine being on ankle monitor, it really restricted him as far as curfews. So with the ankle monitor, you start off with kind of a very restricted curfew. And then the longer they see you actively doing your drug test, not coming home late, not giving them any problems, they'll start extending that. And they call it, I kid you not, they call it rec time, which I thought was hilarious because that's what they tell you in prison when it's time to go outside and get sunshine for an hour. So they call it rec time. So you get like 70 hours for work. They write your work schedule in for work, church, any like meetings you want to go to, and then you get rec time. I was like,
playtime. Yeah. Like going out for PE. Yeah. Yeah. So
I didn't know all the aspects of it because Blaine didn't think to share it with me. So I was kind of late catching up and figuring out how his was different than mine.
Right.
Because he thinks.
Yeah, he just didn't.
He does this crap. I want you to understand. He does this crap all of the time. All the time.
Doesn't fill you in.
No, he surprises me. It's surprising. He wants to surprise me. I don't even like surprises.
I don't like surprises either.
I don't like being surprised.
I like to be in control.
Surprise me with chocolates, flowers.
Right.
Don't surprise me with like a puppy. Damn sure don't surprise me with an ankle monitor. Like,
no. That happened to my sister over Christmas. Her husband surprised her with a puppy, and it was not the surprise she wanted.
No. Surprises. Some decisions are just not.
Yeah.
You just don't surprise somebody with it. And what a lot of people weren't grasping is that I had to call my probation officer.
Right.
And say, my boyfriend is on house arrest.
Uh-huh. Not he's going to be.
This is what we're going to do. This is what's going to happen. This is what's being offered. It was a great deal. Fantastic deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would have been great if I could have told him ahead of time. It would. Because it makes it look like I'm hiding stuff then. It makes it look like I'm not being forthcoming. I'm not being honest about, my situation and where I'm staying. It's not a good look.
Yeah. What is your lawyer's name? Is Tyler?
Tyler Moss.
Tyler. We call him Ponytail Lawyer. We're like, Ponytail Lawyer's going to have to fix this.
I would say he is really good. Like, he's phenomenal.
Obviously he is. Yeah. You got to blame that good deal. Yeah.
And I'm hoping he can get me something similar, like awesome deal for my charges.
So where are you with that right now? Or what can you say about it?
Same, just waiting. He's just postponing things because he wants as much time between when I caught the charge and when I go in front of the judge for the charge so that they can see like an active change in my life.
Yes. Yeah. Because you've been sober over a year, 2 years, over a year?
Mm-hmm. I'm coming up on 2 years in August.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. That is something. I know it's one day at a time. And, my husband will say, well, you can't get to tomorrow if you didn't do today. When my kids complain about homework, he'll say, well, you can't take this test if you didn't do this homework. And they're all like, oh, quit.
He's dropping those AA and NA quotes in on them
all the time. And they're like, we got it, Dad, shut up. Right. But I mean, that's a big thing. And you should be very proud. That's great. I will tell you. So Keisha is, she has a podcast called Libra Lounge with Keisha, and she covers your show over there. And then she comes on with me and covers it on my podcast. But she does a great Blaine impression.
Oh my God.
And so I had her send it to me says, so I had it when I thought we were going to record another way. I had it up on my computer, so you're going to have to hear it on the phone. But
Okay.
you're gonna love it. So she has 2 Blaine impressions. She does just Lindsey, and then she has Lindsey get in the car. Okay, you ready? Okay, here we go.
Lindsey, get in the car.
Isn't it great?
That's great. It's so funny. Blaine, he mumbles. I don't have any problem understanding him, but I get like those people from North are gonna have the hardest time. But I remember after our very first season, after he was first on the show, we were watching it one night, and he looks at me and says, "Why am I the only person with subtitles?"
He talks. He doesn't mumble. He just talks real low and guttural, I think, is the way it is. Yeah.
He just, I think he mumbles. He does have he's low, and he'll like talk fast here and then talk slow there, and his accent's thick.
That's his accent is very thick, and people think I have an accent. I'm like, I have no accent. Have y'all seen these people on these shows? I mean, I've been out of Mississippi as long as I've been up here in Virginia. I'm like, I don't have an accent. Come on now. People are like, oh my God, you could totally hear your accent. I'm like, what if I go to Mississippi? Like, I'll go in June for a week or so. When I come back, it's like I never left. I have like talking to my mother, and my accent just really comes back once you're around it, for sure.
And actually, watching myself on the show this season, I actually heard my accent between last season and this season. I hear my accent becoming thicker as I'm back home longer.
As is day to day.
Because, during the last, during the end of my 4-year sentence, I actually was in California. So my accent was like so different. If you listen to like TV then and then me on TV now, I sound like a whole hick because it's like that strong compared to what it was back then.
Well, we like to say Southern. We don't say, we'll say, somebody will go, the accent's redneck. I'm like, we say Southern.
Country, Southern.
We say Southern. Well, I want to thank you very much for doing this. You can ask your PR person. I think I've been asking for a year to get you on. And I keep saying, she's from Mississippi. She'll want to talk to me. I promise. I'm from Mississippi too. So I really want to thank you. So tell everybody like what's going to happen on the finale that you could tell us, and then where to find you on social media and continue to follow you since it's taken a break.
So at the last episode, you really see me get to like my breaking point. A lot of people say, well, I don't understand that breaking point. That breaking point is what happens when you're up for more than 24 hours at a time.
Mm-hmm.
That follows sleep deprivation. And so like, yeah, I'm about to go get some sleep. But at the end of the day, like these are real issues that me and Blaine are having. And like, we have to work them out. Like things come down to the wire for me and Blaine because I've been vocal. Like, this is not what I'm happy with. This is not what I'm going to deal with. Like, you've got to do better. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are saying, oh, well, Blaine did this for you and did that for you. And you got out. I had a job within 72 hours of getting out of prison.
Mm-hmm.
I helped with bills from the jump.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, within the first couple months, I was actively participating. This is not just me having to cover all the bills. At this point, I'm giving Blaine gas money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at this point, I'm taking care of everything. Blaine, I think that ankle monitor really got him to like a low point of depression. I really think that's what it was. But neither here nor there.
Yeah, and that mom thing is real too.
Yeah, I'm at my breaking point. Like, I really am. Like, this isn't going to work. This is not where I'm not going to continue this way.
When you see you saying like, if I didn't buy the Christmas presents, if I didn't do the groceries, if I didn't take people here or there, if I didn't do that, and it wouldn't get done. And that's such like a mom thing that a lot of us as women feel. You take it all on in addition to working, in addition to, like I'm going to work a full-time job and I'm going to also do all this stuff. And then sometimes the men get away with like, well, I went to work today. You're like, yes, so did I. But I also did 26 other things, So that mom thing is a real, it'll drive you crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is that we're not having that conversation anymore because you're not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you might be going to work like 1 or 2 days a week right now. And for me, if I just got off work, came home, took the kid to school, washed dishes, cooked dinner and all that stuff as a mom, and my husband hasn't gone to work, then I'm looking at you like, what are you doing? So for me, I'm similar in this situation with Blaine, go to work, I come home, I unpack, I cook, I clean, and I'm looking around and I'm going like, what have you done today? Like, point to me. Did you unpack a box? No.
Right.
You hang your own clothes up? No. Did you wash clothes? No. Did you do dishes? No. Did you do anything?
Yeah.
And for me to be working all day and come home and start working again and look around and him be in the bed playing Xbox, it's not
good.
working.
It's not good. Okay, so that's where we're going to be at the end of the season. And then we're going to get Mama June for a while, and then the show's going to come back. So
I'm telling you, you have to give it a try. You have to give Mama June a try.
Okay, I will. You've convinced me. Between you and Keisha, you've convinced me. I'll listen. It'll my TV.
Let me tell you what, Mama June hit that Hot Mess Express hard. Okay,
she sure did. She
she
sure
did. I'm talking about. You're going what? I remember the very first Mama June I ever watched was when Pumpkin came in and she's holding her keys and going, "They just came and got my car. Mama just sold my car."
Oh no. Oh.
I'm going, that is an active addiction sign right there.
Yeah, that's not great.
Yeah.
Well, I think she's doing better now, we hope.
Well, you have to watch to find out.
Oh, I got to watch to find out. All right, so where can people follow you until we see you on our TV again?
I am on Simply Lindsey with Linzy or Simply _ Lindsey on Instagram. But I'm pretty much Simply Lindsey across all my platforms. I'm just recently learning the TikTok. Miley loves the TikTok. I don't know how to work it. I've got a few things uploaded, but I don't know what I'm doing there.
Well, once you start watching it, she's like, you'll be like Blaine on the bed playing the Xbox. You get sucked in. You'll be like 12 hours just disappeared because you just like you're like, oh, I should buy this on Amazon, or this is a great way to organize my house, or hey, look at this casserole, or cute dogs, or guys dancing in front of the Eiffel Tower. It's like you don't even know, and you're just like 5 hours have gone by. I literally will like allow myself to look at it on the weekend because if not, I just get so, and I'm just like, oh, look at these Amazon finds, and I'm clicking on stuff that I don't need. So just be careful. Be careful with the TikTok.
But yeah, I'm always on Twitter every Friday night for Felon Friday live tweets. I'm there. My kid is like, even if they tweet anymore, and I'm like, literally millions of people tweet.
Right. I know.
Like they're all millennials. I'm like, also a millennial. So
yeah, the teenagers will shame you. No matter what social media you're on, they'll tell you you're on the wrong one.
She throws that millennial term at me all the time, like it is a sword.
I mean, I'm Generation X, so I don't know what she thinks about me, just like old lady. At least I'm not a boomer. There you go. All right. Well, we will continue to watch, and thank you very, very much for doing this. I've been dying to talk to you, and I can't wait to find out if you head back to Ole Miss. You won't tell me, but I'll be glad to see if it happens.
Okay.
Okay. Hotty toddy.
Thank you so much. I had a great time.
Okay. Thank you.